The supply chain that brings pharmaceutical drugs from the factory to the pharmacy is long, complex, and many experts say opaque. Congress and several state legislatures have proposed or enacted laws to bring more transparency and curb soaring drug prices.
Have you ever wondered if the things you pick up at the pharmacy might be quietly working against you? For decades, we have trusted those bright shelves and familiar labels, filling our baskets without thinking twice. But what if the cure you are reaching for is part of the problem, and what if a few of those items are actually worth keeping? Today at the Hidden Menu, we take a deep dive into the pharmacy items you might be better off leaving behind, and two that truly earn their place. So let us start with 1. Pain relievers. Avoid. For years, over the counter pain relievers have sat at the front of pharmacy aisles, lined up in tidy rows that feel like a promise of quick relief. People reach for them without much thought, trusting that the small bottle in their hand is as harmless as it is familiar. But reviews and medical reports suggest a quieter reality. Frequent use, especially in higher than recommended doses, can lead to serious issues over time. Former pharmacists have shared that some customers buy these painkillers in bulk, unaware that the extra strength versions often contain higher levels of active ingredients that can strain the liver or kidneys when taken regularly. Others assume that because they are sold without a prescription, the risk is minimal, when in fact the margin between safe use and harmful overuse can be surprisingly small. One shopper recalled taking daily tablets for back pain for years, only to discover during a routine checkup that their liver enzymes were elevated, a problem they never connected to the pills until their doctor asked about habits. Pharmacies often place these items at eye level, next to promotional signage that focuses on fast relief rather than long-term caution. While the packaging lists possible side effects, the warnings are printed in small text and couched in medical language that can be easy to skim past. Some customers also forget that other products, like cold or flu medicines, can contain the same pain-relieving ingredients, making it possible to take a double dose without realizing it. The result is a product that feels like an everyday helper, but can quietly become a source of harm when used without careful limits. And because the effects often build gradually, the connection between cause and consequence can be hard to see until the damage is already done. 2. Cough syrups. Avoid. Cough syrups have been a household staple for generations, the kind of bottle your parents might have kept on a high shelf and pulled down whenever the winter cold set in. The rich, sweet taste and slow warmth seem almost comforting, a signal that someone is taking care of you. But not all cough syrups are created equal, and many over-the-counter versions contain ingredients that may not be as harmless as they seem. Former pharmacy technicians have noted that some popular formulas rely heavily on alcohol or high sugar content, which can be problematic for those with certain health conditions. Others include sedating antihistamines that can make older adults especially prone to dizziness or falls. There's also the risk of misuse, taking more than the recommended amount in hopes of stronger relief, which can lead to side effects like elevated heart rate or even liver strain if the syrup contains acetaminophen. One customer shared a story of using the same cough syrup nightly during allergy season, thinking it was safe, only to realize the fatigue and grogginess they felt each morning were side effects. In some cases, families keep half-used bottles for years, not realizing that active ingredients can degrade or separate over time, reducing effectiveness or changing how the body reacts. The labels do warn about prolonged use, but in the haze of illness, those cautions often fade into the background. And because these bottles are so familiar, people tend to trust them implicitly, overlooking the possibility that the comfort they provide in the moment might carry a quiet cost over time. 3. Medicated decongestant nasal sprays. Avoid. Nasal sprays line the shelves of nearly every pharmacy, small and unassuming, often promising instant relief from congestion. They seem like the perfect quick fix. You press, you breathe, and within moments your airways open and the world feels a little clearer. But some of these sprays, particularly decongestant versions, come with a catch that many users don't realize until they're caught in it. Former pharmacists have explained a phenomenon called rebound congestion. use the spray too often, even just a few days in a row, and your nasal passages can actually become more swollen when the medication wears off, creating a cycle where you feel you need the spray more and more. One customer described how a just for this week habit turned into months of daily use, with worsening symptoms each time they tried to stop. The packaging warns about limiting use to a few days, but in small print and often without clear explanation of what happens if you don't. And because the relief is so immediate, it's easy to justify just one more day until the cycle takes hold. Some users try to quit cold turkey and end up feeling worse than when they started, leading them right back to the aisle to buy another bottle. This is not to say nasal sprays have no place. They can be genuinely helpful for short-term congestion, but the very thing that makes them effective can also quietly make them harder to give up, leaving users worse off than when they started. 4. Multivitamins. Avoid. Multivitamins seem like the safest purchase you can make in a pharmacy. Bright bottles promising daily wellness, immune support, and energy in a single capsule. For decades, they've been sold as a kind of nutritional safety net, a way to make sure you're covered no matter what your diet looks like. But experts and former supplement industry insiders have pointed out that not all multivitamins are created with the same care, and some may contain more of certain nutrients than you actually need. Taking excess amounts of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K can lead to a gradual buildup in the body, with side effects that don't appear right away. Others rely on cheaper forms of minerals that are less easily absorbed, meaning you might not be getting the benefit you think you are. One longtime user recalled developing digestive issues after increasing their daily dose on the assumption that more is better, only to be told by their doctor that the high levels of certain vitamins were likely contributing. Some products also contain herbal extracts that can interact with medications, an issue often overlooked when the bottle is labeled natural. The supplement aisle is filled with reassuring words like essential and complete. But unlike prescription medications, these products are less tightly regulated, meaning their actual content can vary. The risk isn't always dramatic or immediate. It's the slow accumulation of imbalance, the quiet way a well-meaning habit can shift from helpful to harmful without you realizing it. And because the effects can take months or years to show, it's easy to miss the signs until they're impossible to ignore. If any of these pharmacy finds have you rethinking what's in your medicine cabinet, share your own experience in the comments. Give this video a quiet thumbs up and subscribe to the hidden menu so you don't miss the rest of the story. 5. Pain relief creams and gels. Avoid. Topical pain relief creams and gels have become a go-to for people wanting to ease muscle aches or joint stiffness without taking something by mouth. They sit on pharmacy shelves in bright tubes, promising targeted comfort with fewer risks than pills. For many, they've become a regular part of their evening routine. Rub a little on the knee before bed, or smooth it over a sore back after a long day. But behind the cooling or warming sensation, there's more complexity than the marketing suggests. Former pharmacists and physical therapists have noted that while these creams can provide temporary relief, their active ingredients are often absorbed into the bloodstream in small amounts. For most people, this might not be an issue, but for those with certain health conditions or who are already taking medications that interact with the same compounds, it can create problems over time. Some creams contain non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, similar to what's in oral painkillers, meaning that frequent or heavy use could still contribute to side effects like increased blood pressure, stomach irritation, or even kidney strain. One customer described using a menthol-based gel every night for months before realizing the persistent rash on their skin was an allergic reaction, not just dryness from winter air. Others have been caught off guard by the temporary numbness that lingers on the hands after application, leading to accidental contact with the eyes or mouth. Packaging often focuses on the quick sensation, the icy hot or deep heat, without making it clear that the actual pain relief is usually short-lived, sometimes wearing off within an hour. Over time, some users end up applying more than the recommended amount in hopes of stronger effects, unknowingly increasing their exposure to the active drug. These products can absolutely have a place in managing pain, But the quiet truth is that they are not risk-free, and relying on them as a daily fix without considering the cumulative effects can turn a seemingly harmless habit into something worth a second look. 6. Energy supplements. Avoid. Energy supplements and so-called focus boosters have become a booming corner of the pharmacy aisle, stacked in shiny bottles that promise sharper thinking, faster reaction times, and fewer afternoon crashes. They often carry names that sound high-tech or nature-inspired, and they sell especially well to busy students, overworked professionals, and anyone feeling worn thin. But these small capsules and powders often contain more than their labels let on. Former supplement industry insiders have revealed that many of these products rely heavily on high doses of caffeine or other stimulants, sometimes mixed with herbal extracts that can raise heart rate or blood pressure. For people sensitive to stimulants, or those already drinking coffee or energy drinks, this can lead to jitteriness, anxiety, or heart palpitations. In some cases, customers report trouble sleeping for days after starting a new focus formula, only realizing later that it was the supplement's slow metabolism keeping them wired. One shopper described trying an energy pill during a busy work project, only to find themselves lightheaded and nauseous by mid-afternoon. Some formulas also contain ingredients with very little research behind them, meaning their long-term effects are still largely unknown. Because these supplements aren't regulated to the same standards as prescription drugs, the actual potency can vary between batches, creating an unpredictable experience for the consumer. Labels often suggest that the product is safe for daily use, but rarely mention that stacking it with other sources of caffeine or stimulants can push the body into overdrive. And while the immediate boost can feel like a solution, over time the body can adapt, requiring higher doses to achieve the same effect, something that can slowly strain the cardiovascular system without obvious warning signs. For all their promises of mental clarity, these supplements can quietly become part of a cycle of fatigue and dependence, where the short-term high leaves a longer shadow than most people realize. 7. Antacids and heartburn relief tablets. Avoid. Antacids and heartburn relief tablets are among the most commonly purchased pharmacy items, tucked into purses, glove compartments, and desk drawers for quick access after a heavy meal. They've been sold for decades as a safe, over-the-counter way to ease that familiar burn in the chest or sour taste in the back of the throat. For occasional use, they can be a genuine help, giving people the comfort to get through their day without discomfort. But regular long-term use can tell a different story. Former pharmacists have pointed out that while these products neutralize stomach acid or reduce its production, they can also interfere with the body's natural digestion when taken too often. Stomach acid plays an important role in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and vitamin B12, meaning that frequent use can slowly lead to deficiencies. There's also the risk of masking a more serious underlying condition. People may take antacids for months to manage what feels like everyday heartburn, when in fact the cause might be something requiring medical attention. One customer shared that they carried chewable antacids everywhere for years, only to learn during a routine checkup that they had developed low bone density, partly due to reduced calcium absorption linked to their daily use. Acid-reducing tablets can also interact with other medications, changing how they're absorbed or processed. While packaging often advises consulting a doctor if symptoms persist beyond 2 weeks, many people treat this as optional, assuming that because the product is over the counter, it's safe to take indefinitely. The relief is real and often fast, but the quiet cost comes when temporary comfort turns into a habit that slowly alters how the body works, leaving people wondering years later why their health shifted in ways they never connected to that small chalky tablet. 8. Herbal sleep aids. Avoid. Herbal sleep aids have found their way into countless nightstands, marketed as a natural, gentle way to drift off without the risks of prescription sleeping pills. They often come in calming colors, soft blues, muted greens, with labels that promise relaxation and restfulness. For many, the idea of a plant-based solution feels safer, more wholesome, and more in tune with the body. But former supplement formulators and pharmacists point out that natural is not the same as risk-free, and some of these products can cause problems that go unnoticed until they've become a pattern. Melatonin, a common ingredient, can be helpful in certain situations, but in doses higher than what the body naturally produces, it may disrupt the body's own sleep wake cycle if used long term. Others contain valerian root, passion flower, or kava, which can interact with medications for anxiety, blood pressure, or depression, potentially leading to unwanted side effects like dizziness, nausea, or morning grogginess. One customer described how they began taking an herbal sleep aid every night during a stressful period, only to find that when they tried to stop, their insomnia returned worse than before. Some products also vary widely in potency from one batch to the next, meaning you might be getting far more or far less of the active ingredient than the label states. Because they are sold as dietary supplements rather than drugs, these sleep aids aren't subject to the same strict quality control, leaving room for inconsistencies. And while many people reach for them to avoid the risks of prescription pills, they can quietly foster the same dependency, the belief that you cannot sleep without them, even when your body might be able to with the right habits. The packaging and marketing make them feel gentle, even harmless, but in practice, they can lead to cycles of overuse, unexpected interactions, and reliance that's harder to break than the sleepless nights they were meant to fix. 9. Digital thermometers. Worth it. Digital thermometers may not be glamorous, but they're one of the most reliable tools you can buy in a pharmacy, and for good reason. The design is simple, the instructions clear, and the benefits immediate. You know in seconds whether you're running a fever, something that can guide the rest of your care. Former pharmacists and nurses often stress the value of having a dependable thermometer at home, pointing out that it's one of the easiest ways to spot an infection early or track whether an illness is getting better or worse. Unlike some health gadgets that rely on apps or subscriptions, a basic digital thermometer works on its own with no hidden costs or complicated upkeep beyond replacing the battery every few years. The accuracy is generally high, especially when used as directed, and many modern models include flexible tips for comfort, quick readings for squirmy children, and water-resistant designs for easy cleaning. One parent recalled catching a fever in their toddler late at night, thanks to a thermometer they almost didn't buy, allowing them to seek care before symptoms worsened. They're also versatile, able to be used orally, rectally, or under the arm depending on need. And unlike more expensive infrared models, they remain affordable while still delivering dependable results. This is one of those pharmacy purchases that pays for itself in peace of mind. A small investment that can prevent bigger problems by helping you make informed decisions early. It's not flashy and it doesn't promise miracles, but it quietly does exactly what it says it will. And in a world of overpromises, that's worth a lot. 10. Saline nasal sprays. Worth it. Saline nasal sprays are about as plain as a pharmacy item can get. Just salt and water in a small bottle. But they might be one of the most underappreciated tools for everyday health. Unlike medicated sprays, saline solutions work by simply moisturizing and flushing out nasal passages, helping clear allergens, dust, or mild congestion without the risk of rebound swelling or systemic side effects. Former ENT specialists often recommend them for both adults and children, especially during dry winter months or allergy season. They can be used multiple times a day without harm, making them ideal for long-term support rather than quick, short-lived fixes. One allergy sufferer shared that switching from medicated decongestant sprays to a daily saline rinse significantly reduced their need for stronger treatments over time. They're also helpful before bed, keeping nasal passages comfortable overnight and reducing snoring caused by dryness or mild blockage. The simplicity is part of the appeal. No complicated dosing schedules, no hidden ingredients, no risk of drug interactions. For parents, they're gentle enough for use with infants, and for travelers, they help counteract the drying effects of airplane air. Saline sprays are often inexpensive, sometimes just a few dollars, yet they can be a first line of defense against more severe congestion or sinus infections. In a pharmacy aisle crowded with colorful, overcomplicated promises, this is the quiet option that actually delivers. Steady, safe, and backed by decades of use without the baggage of hidden risks. Before you close this tab, tell us in the comments which pharmacy item you swear by or quietly avoid. Tap the like button if this opened your eyes and subscribe to The Hidden Menu so we can keep uncovering what is really sitting on those shelves. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.